So I was gonna sit back, y'all. Shit, that thing blocked my whole face. That's crazy. Woo. What is going on, everybody? I'm just wondering what y'all doing today. I'm gonna let the room cut, let people get up in the room first. Oh my God. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here, Bentley. Come here, Bentley. What they doing? What they doing, Bentley? That's later on, Vaughn. Bentley, you wanna go outside? Go outside, Bentley.
Double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hold up. What's the problem? I'm pulled up. Big flex, my swole up. Hard body, they
Go ahead. Go down. You wanna get down?
Double text on my phone up. Fuck with your boy, I'm the man of the year. I'm not a fan of your peers. Start with my fate, I'm my hand on the shears. He not the man of your peers. Heart of a lion, I'm traveling fears. I'm not the man in the mirror. Cry me a river, they stand in the tears.
No, Vaughn's trying to play bingo early, huh?
Crazy niggas from Daisy. How would they ever go fuck with a kid? Put it on baby, you do not phase me. Why do not give a fuck what you did? Eating that kitty, she stuck in my rib. How can I trust when he fuck with the peas? No, got a Glock and a couple of C's. He think about splitting a couple of weeks. Showing my DNA all real, nigga. Sweatsuit, all heel figures. And I
Queen
ain't even
Diva
got
up in the
with you.
building.
I ain't never split a bill with you. I got him and singing hard child. Baby girl wearing nada. Ass growing from a cider. Bad robe in his Prada. Fiji water by the cold glass. Granddaddy by the zip lock. Flex season, I'm rolling running. I'm
This early? It's 12. I got up about 2 hours ago. I got up like 2 hours ago. It's 12 right now. 12. 12:17. Nine 17? Oh, that's right. You not on this stuff. It's early for you. It's afternoon over here. It's afternoon.
My swole up, double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hold up. What's the problem? I'm pulled up. Big flex, my swole up. Hard body, they fold up. Shorty say I done glowed up. Double text on my phone up. Baby girl look like Bob and I like me too. No roof on my top and my big see-through. Ain't on the pier, don't style, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you.
What's up, Bomb Squad? This is DC KOOLAID, and Lisa is in the. Lisa is in the. But anyway, I'm here because I couldn't come up with a topic, so I was like, well, let me get these. I bought two different boxes of some Pop Tarts, so I was gonna try those in the midst of the topic that I was aiming for. How you say that? I was aiming for a topic from back in the past, like something I did back in the day, or like basically like things that went on back in the day that's so different now. Like Pop Tarts. Come on, think about it, guys. Pop Tarts. They came a long way. Now, they got frozen Pop Tarts. And you know what's funny? Because they called Pop Tarts. When I was growing up, I don't know why I call them Pop Tarts. But the whole time it was Pop Tarts. Pop Tarts. And growing up, they didn't have all these different flavors. They just had like chocolate, freaking, what else? Strawberry, cherry. That was it, wasn't it? Then it came up with brown sugar.
No, brown sugar was
Brown sugar was.
I don't know. My mama didn't give me. I didn't eat Pop Tarts.
Lisa could have Pop Tarts when she was little.
Well, no, she could have them. She couldn't buy processed stuff like that.
She could have Pop Tarts when she was growing up. I remember. Well, I know some people like to put them in the toaster oven. I never liked it in the toaster oven. Some people put in, toaster, not an oven, a toaster. And they pop up and all that. I guess that's why they call it Pop Tarts. That's why they call it that, y'all. So this is the lemon cream pie one. The lemon cream pie one, I never had it. I saw it, so I grabbed it. You love popping them tarts. So yeah, I never tried these before, so I'm gonna pull one. You wanna try one there? Or you gonna wait later? She gonna wait later. Lisa just woke up, so she woke up and I'm turning lights on and cameras and everything on in the house. So we're gonna try these Pop Tarts, and then I'm gonna talk about back in the day growing up. So I'm gonna go back, cause I came up with a topic and Lisa was like, nah. And then I thought about
I couldn't figure out
how to title it. It's like growing up in DC, not knowing how you say, not knowing that Caucasian people existed. Only thing I knew they existed on TV, because I lived in a predominant urban area where nothing but African Americans lived at. So I didn't know, or the police pull up. Let's see, what this I got? Why not? Babe, you might want to try the.
That's on one right now.
This is pretty good. This is pretty good. It's very limiting. And it actually tastes like that lemon meringue pie. Even though I ain't supposed to eat these things, it's actually good. So we're gonna talk about that while I'm eating this. Y'all gonna try this lemon cream pie. It's very limiting. It tastes like lemon meringue pie. Oh, you love them for real? Do you pop them in the oven, in a toaster? Yeah, I eat them like this. Cause I used to grab them and keep going. I ain't had time to put them in the toaster. I just grab a pack, put it in my bag, keep going. These are actually good, y'all. So what I was saying was, growing up back then, the things you did back then, you can't do now. Let's say that. You microwave them. What? The things you did back then, you don't do now. But like living out there in DC in the city, like I said, I never seen a lot of just police. And on TV was Caucasian people. I didn't know they had a whole entourage place and all that until I ventured out as I got older. And when I say older, it was like, shoot, I had some that work at work, but like, like living in a whole predominant area that is Caucasian people, I never knew what that was. So growing up in the city, I remember, man, we always lived in areas that were near the hood. You know what I'm saying? The hood, we was never in the hood, but it was around us. Y'all picture that? We live here and the hood is over there, or it's over there, or it's on both sides, or it's down the street. And being though we live in a predominant middle class family places, because my dad was in the government, he retired. It didn't feel like we was that close to the hood until you go outside. And see, my mom and dad never let us go outside like that. So once we started venturing outside, we started seeing things, seeing, oh, this is how it is out here. So we went, these are so good, y'all. We would go outside when we see our friends and we hang out outside with our friends. But that was the limit line, right in that area. Couldn't cross this way, couldn't go that way. Y'all, behold, I ventured out. But let me back before I ventured out. I went to all black school. I went to all Catholic black school, um, high school. I went to Catholic school up until my 11th, 12th grade. So I went to a public school, predominant African American then. So when we would go to school in the mornings, we would cut through the woods. There was no yellow buses, and I didn't know what those things was when I moved. Once I moved out, I was like, what? They picked them up on a bus? We didn't get picked up on no bus. We walked everywhere. We walked to school. If the school was an hour away, you was walking. So then, high school, I should have put my seat back. I got my new chair, and I can't even sit back. My high school, I went to the first school I went to was clear across town. They didn't have subways and stuff like that. We had the metro bus, the city bus, metro bus. I had to catch 3 of them just to get to school. So these kids now, they are so, what is the word, privileged, that they can hop on a yellow bus and the bus take them directly to school. Back then we couldn't do that. We didn't have no buses. That's why we were so skinny. We walked everywhere. We walked everywhere. And then Metro started coming in the neighborhoods slowly. Like, if you lived on a certain block, it might be on the main street. You just got to walk to the main street to get to the Metro. That's how it used to be. Then they started making them go down, different roads, and you can catch the Metro bus. So back then, you would catch the Metro bus. You would put the change in the little thing because it didn't cost that much to ride it, and then you can get a transfer for free. So if you get on one bus, you can jump on another bus with a little transfer paper. I'm like, they don't do that no more. Do they do transfers on buses? I ain't rode. Well, buses are so different now, and they have underground metro, outside metro. You can ride a train everywhere, so it's so different now than back then. Yep, better shape. Yeah, because that's all we did. We walked everywhere back in the day. I remember. Oh man, I shouldn't even tell that one. I remember. Let me go to the other story first. I come back. That's another story, another topic. I remember catching the bus. This is how terrible the hood was because the bus had to go. I don't know why they sent the bus through the hood, knowing what was going on through the hood. You know what I'm saying? It like in the bus, you get on a bus, and you ride from. I was riding from school, and I was like the third bus I was on, and I was getting near my house, and it got to go through the hood. It got to go through the hood to get to where I live at. But when it's going through the hood, back in the day, the old buses had the sliding windows, or was it the up and down one? I think it was the slide ones. No, they was up and down because I remember everybody was like, yeah, they was the up and down ones. So you had to slide the window open and hit that little clamp thing, so it's locked and it don't slide back down because some of them used to be broke. So when the bus would go through the hood, um, the kids would be outside waiting for you to come through, and they would throw stuff in the bus, all this water stuff, and they didn't. I don't even know. I just remember they had the fire hydrant open. They be waiting for the bus to come through. So the crazy part is when we be before the bus get to the hood, we be like this. Everybody be pushing the windows up real quick. We had to learn quick. And then you got that one person like looking at y'all, looking at us like, why y'all pushing the window up? Because the people about to throw some water in this bus. Man, it was funny. It was funny, but you ain't want to get wet like that because one, you don't know where that water coming from. You don't know nothing, and they just throwing the water in the bus. So that they don't do no more. That was back then. Back then, you could knock on the neighbor's door. Hey, Shirley, you got some bread I can borrow? You know what I'm saying? Borrow some bread. You don't see nobody try to borrow shit from nobody. Cause you don't know what people are capable of doing. But back then you used to get borrow bread from people. You can buy not bread, but like a slice of bread or some sugar with no problem. And then as I got older, I noticed people be like, I ain't got no sugar, I ain't got no bread, cause they don't want nobody keep knocking on their door for bar and stuff. Cause once you start it, there's no stopping. You lend some sugar out to a neighbor, watch what happens. You done lent your house out for the rest of the time you'll stay wherever you live at. But back then, you can do it when nobody would complain. Let me see what else happened back then. I remember that. I remember stepping in the projects for the first time because when we started to go place, like when we first at first we couldn't never really go nowhere, but as we got older, we can branch out, and they be like, y'all go outside, and somehow we always ended up in the hood because the projects over there was fun. Where we lived was peaceful, but when we had fun because they used to have the go-go bands outside. But what scared me one time was it's called Valley Green. Anybody know familiar with the Washington D.C. Southeast side? It was Valley Green, and it was called the Circle because you would walk down, and it was the cul-de-sac. Now we know what a cul-de-sac is. I didn't know what a cul-de-sac was when I came out Virginia. I didn't know, and I've been in Virginia like over 20 years now, so I didn't know what a cul-de-sac was because they used to call that the Circle. Babe, did y'all have circles?
I'm sure we did.
Yeah. Did y'all call them cul-de-sacs back then?
I don't know. I don't know, baby. I lived in a small town, and then cul-de-sacs came to subdivisions, stuff like that. We didn't have that.
So I didn't know what that was, but it was called the Circle, and I never forget in Valley Green, it was the like big southeast side of projects. They took a whole lot of area, but now they done tore that whole stuff down. It's nice townhomes people live in now. It's like every time I drive down there, every blue in the moon, I be like, wow. If I blink and just think back how I used to hang out in these projects. And when I say projects, I mean it was like no grass, clothes hanging out the windows, old what you call them thing, air conditioning unit, them big block things. See, like I said, we always lived in the middle class, but for some reason the projects just drew us over there to have fun. But like I said, I got scared one time. But you go in there, and then it's like, what are you doing? And then you go in there you go over there to the project, which was across the street, and the Circle was like a little up the street. But our friends lived like right directly across the street in between, because the projects always had buildings inside, like not inside, but the building here, and then there's a building on the inside. What is it, babe? How you say it? It's like a building here, and then a building like behind it, and a building on the side. A building. It was just like
Man, what you talking about?
it was. It was
Arkansas.
congested. It was just congested.
You lived in a small, well, DC ain't city, but you lived in a small district that had 3, 4 times as many people in it that should be living there.
Yeah, but
That's why
the
everything started
buildings
to
was
get
like they was just all over. They were just there. Like they just sat some buildings, said we're gonna put some behind here, put some over there, because you can walk to one of your friend's house, you cut through the little walkway, and there's another building. So technically, if you driving trying to find somebody's address and you don't know, they don't tell you to drive this way, and you might have to walk through. You done missed their address. But the circle scared me one day. One night we was out there. They had the go-go band at the bottom, but we wanted to go up to top because our friends was like, "Come on, let's walk up top to the circle." Lo and behold, I ain't know nothing about the circle because I'm middle class. I ain't do nothing. I went Catholic school, but I was hanging with my friends that live over there. So we go over there to the circle hanging out because that's when they had all them big old cars and their windows was limo tints. I mean the old cars. And they was hanging out and the music was playing from their cars and they was hanging out. Lo and behold, I ain't know what they were doing, but they had drugs. Um, it was just crazy. It was loud. It was like picture 11 o'clock at night and nobody sleep and they just hanging outside. And I just thought it was amazing to see all of that until somebody pulled out a gun and I was done. I was like, oh, I can't come back over here because it was just like I seen it and it was enough to scare me because that's back when they was selling like coke and all that stuff down there back then. So I mean, that type of living, people are comfortable with living like that and they can actually deal with it and stuff like that. But for me, it was like a wake up call. You don't want to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And trust me, I was scared when I saw all of that. So I ain't never want to go back to the circle. Then once I got older and I was driving, see, I wasn't driving then, but when I started driving, I mean, let me drive up here and see what it's like. And I'm like, man, it's still the same. It was like nobody. I guess because the it was like Valley Green, and then on the other side was Condon Terrace, and we lived in a 12 storage high rise that was a middle class building in the middle. So we was trapped for those people over there, and they come on their side, then there's a problem. If they go on that side, there's a problem. It was crazy, and then the people on the right side was attacking. I guess they was hating the boys that lived in the high rise because they would wear nice stuff. Because back then, poverty was bad when you looked over there at those places. Because I didn't know nothing about, like I said, I didn't know that existed until we got to get the chance to go out and outside and do have fun and stuff. But I didn't know nothing about the projects, didn't. But it was fun living because those people, even though they didn't have the things that we had, that living in the middle class area, they were more fun. They weren't worrying about this or worrying about that shoe. Well, we was shit, we was everybody had to get the latest what's those damn things we were just talking about, Adidas shell toes with the different color ones, the green ones. Then we had to match the Converse with the shirt and the pants and the hats. That was us. And so when we go to the projects, they wasn't worrying about stuff like that, and it was fun. I had fun in my younger days. I did. I seen things I shouldn't have saw, but I mean, that's come with the territory when you stepping across from one place to another. And I don't know if you guys ever lived near the projects or anything. Like we was talking about last night, me and Lisa was talking about. I was like, I don't even know if projects exist now. You know what I'm saying? But I know. I mean, I know they have low income housing, but low income housing now ain't like low income houses back then. It's like back then they just built brick buildings It's up to you to put an AC unit in your window. No grass. Shit, half the doors, they you might you just walk in the building and then you just knock on the person's door. You didn't have no real because they tore the shit up. So my thing was now now it's like the low income people have it made. How they say, a lot of low income people have it made where they can live in a nice, you know, AC unit, what do you call it, central air, and they can do things, you know, back then they didn't look at it. They didn't look at it like you can see it now. Now it's just different, you know, because it's like back then it was rough. I mean, when I say rough, it was rough. Looking at those things now, we didn't have to deal with that, but just to see how people were living back then and back now. Now you have it's a difference between low income people living back then and now versus homeless people. That's a whole totally different ball game. But back then, living on a low income is not you don't get the things you get back then. I mean, back then you didn't get the things you can get now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to phrase that. I'm trying to say it like, you know, it's like, huh? It's like it's different. And for me to see it, you know, because I've been to one of my ex-girlfriend, her cousin was living like that, and we tried to help her out, you know, help her take, because she had like about 6, 7 kids, and she was young and had a lot of kids, and I'm trying to figure out how she in a 2 bedroom, and she turned her living room into a bedroom. It was crazy back then. Whereas when she got older and her older kids, you know, they left and moved on. You know, she went to living out in Maryland in a house, which is a low income house, and like, you know, they take Section 8 and all that stuff, and she was living nice, you know, but half her kids had already moved out, so she can, you know, do pretty much. But to seeing the stuff I seen back then, now it's much way better. And for people that aren't on those programs, there's nothing wrong with being on it because you need help. But the thing about it is, be thankful it ain't like back then. I mean, because back then, I don't know where I saw from this on the southeast side of town and southwest side of town. Some more from living on those two sides of towns, I seen how poverty was bad. It was bad. Them people be outside all night long because they ain't had no AC. They just sit outside, and it just, I mean, it mess with your head when you see it. But then now it's like people, you know, they don't have to go through that. You might have some that might steal, but I haven't seen any. Even I took a trip through southeast and southwest. I go through there just to see how it is. Now, when I lived in southwest, it was a predominant middle class, but now they turned that to low income housing, to affordable apartments, because it's two different sides. And by me living out there, I just drove through that. Well, I rode my dad. But last month I went with him to the casino, and one of the church ladies went with us. And so I was like, he went through that town. He said, "You don't want to pass this street no more." Now this is a street we used to live on. I said, "Why we don't want to pass this street? And then why are we on this street if we don't want to be on this street?" And you telling me they have shootings just about every night. And they made the news on in the apartment complex, like right coming through what's the name of that street? Irvington Street, southwest. They had shootings there still to this day. So he said, ain't nobody outside because it's too hot. But he said, go through here at night. You're going to think about back in the day when we lived there, when we used to hang out at night, because we used to have fun. People used to barbecue, even though we weren't supposed to barbecue out in the complex, and share food and play music, and we all go to bed. People go to church on Sunday. It was nice. But now it's not nice like that over there. I mean, because when we went through there the other day, I was like, wow, this place has really changed. you know, and you can tell the side that people, you know, they put gates up so the grass can grow back. But then you got the side where people is like back then, like on the southeast side, like it's just terrible. But living in the hood back, you know, near the hood or in the hood, I think it's kind of fun if you know the people and you're not a target. Because like I said, I seen a lot of things back then. We had the lady that was snitch, rest her soul. She be in the window, and we always this been our ongoing thing ever since Brittany wasn't even born. Shit, Lord, how long ago was that? I might have been like 20, 21, something like that. 18, 17, shoot. This lady used to be in the window. Her name was Miss Connie. And she would tell on you. If she saw you pick up somebody else's bike, she would call your mama or wait till your mama come home. You know, DC picked up that bike and that don't belong to her. You know, stuff like that, right? So our first thing is, if we was gonna do something, we look see if she in the window. We're like, shit, she in the window. We can't even. We gotta go over there. We can't go over there. She's looking out the window. But it kind of was good because she knew if somebody was in that neighborhood that wasn't supposed to be in the neighborhood, because we lived on the inside. Like I told you, apartments were made weird. So we lived in this little curve thing, and our apartment was like in a cut, and her apartment was right on the end. So she can tell you if somebody was messing with your car. She could tell you if the ice cream man coming with no noise. She would tell everything. But it was cool in some sense, but then it was not cool. Cause say you sneaking in from the party, she heard you. I'm like, do she sleep? I didn't know she slept because she be up snitching on us. So yeah, that was Miss Connie. So when somebody go in the window, we'd be like, all right, Miss Connie, you in the window? That's what we say to this day. If my sister or my brothers be in the window, I'd be like, all right, Miss Connie. That's been the ongoing thing. But she was a nice lady. She was nice. She was nice. But she will tell. She would tell. Now y'all remember the games back then outside we used to play? Like you would play, I don't know, do they play tag these days? You know they play tag.
Why would I know what she can do?
Do they play tag these days? Like back then we used to play tag. We used to play what's that, red light, green light? We used to play what's the other game we used to play? We used to do stupid stuff. Now I think we was devils doing this crazy shit. We used to light the grass on fire and the swing used to be over it. And just to swing over the fire and don't get burnt. We did some stupid stuff. I was like, holy would have caught fire. Then we used to take skateboards and skates and go in the bottom of a basement. They used, you know, they had the laundry room, but the basement was open. We used to take our skates and skateboards, and we had our own little roller rink until they got hip to it. But it took years before they figured that out. We did a whole lot of dumb stuff. Yeah, we sure did. I don't know. Did you live by hoods? Did you?
No, baby, I lived in a very small town.
I mean, that was when you.
That apartment complex.
I mean, talking about when you got older. You ain't never lived by a hood area.
No shit. No, I'm just playing.
No, did you live in a? No, you can tell the truth. See, I lived beside the
We
hood.
got a townhouse because it was cheaper, but we didn't really know the apartment complex. We were just getting.
Y'all moved into the townhouse near
It
the.
was more. We lived in places that took Section 8, and a lot of times those places were not well kept because it was Section 8.
Wow. See, but see, back now
And
you
that has nothing to do with the people. That has to do with
the property people.
The property people.
Yeah.
They just got the money. They didn't care about whether or not they cleaned up. When they showed us the townhouse, the people who had been in there before had destroyed it. I mean, it looked like shit was on, and they showed us the apartment like that. The carpet was black, shit was on the wall. There was a Barbie doll stuck in a hole in the wall, and that's how they showed us the apartment.
Wow.
So it wasn't the.
But they cleaned it up afterwards, though.
Well, yeah, I mean they cleaned up when we moved in.
Yeah, but still, why would they show you?
It's very rarely the people, because the people just get the attention because that's what people say. They this, they that, the third, and yes, people do. Where you have higher incidences of lower income housing, you do have higher incidence of certain crimes because if you live in a nice neighborhood, you can't go in there and do that stuff because police all in and out of there. Only time police come in the bad neighborhoods is somebody calling, or if they're looking for somebody. They're not over there trying to keep crime from happening. They're just coming over there after the crime happens. So that's why you get so much. That's why you have so much more crime in areas of low income because the police are not protecting and serving. The police are picking up and arresting. So that's the difference between the situation. If you knew the police were gonna come right through the apartment complex every 2 or 3 hours just to make sure everything okay, this shit would happen. But people in lower income areas, not just apartments, but neighborhoods, know that the only time the police come through here is when they're looking for somebody or when a crime had already happened. So all the other time they can sit up there and do whatever they want to do. But the reality is the majority of people, I say 75% of people who live in lower income areas are just single mothers or single parents, not just mom, single parents trying to take care of their kids, older people. Then you have those, it's
Yeah,
crazy. I lived in a very small town and I was grown before I was grown. No, how was I came home because I was living in Atlanta at one point, and they had made an apartment complex down the street from. So
yeah, but
we had 2 apartment areas in the whole place. Now we had the project in 2 different places.
yeah, but the thing about it, DC was known for a lot of project areas.
Well, DC, here's the thing.
I mean, it was like a lot.
You lived in an urban area. You lived in a predominantly black urban area. And because my aunt lived here and she lived in a house, and then I remember the street, but I don't remember the address. I don't know where the northwest, southeast, I don't know which area it was. But even within DC, they still had the upper middle class, and then the lower poverty level. But you just have so many people in such a small area. It's the same way with New York. The reason that New York, back in the day, what you talking about, used to have so much crime, is because you have 6-7 million people in an area where you should barely have 1 million people. It's the same thing with DC. If you have too many people squeezed into one spot, you're going to have more crime, more violence, because it's just too much.
Right. Yeah, but and
you had so many projects because you had so many people.
It was a lot of projects.
Small town.
Which they condemned, but they gone now.
But the cost of living was so high. People don't realize that the reason that things happen the way they do is because in DC, all right, this house, not in DC, this house right here,
right.
Take this whole house and take it to Alabama. I put it to you like this. Remember I was telling you about the townhouse? We had 4 bedrooms. We had 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, open concept kitchen and living room. 2 bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and a bath and a half bathrooms downstairs. And we paid $425 a month for that apartment, for that town. You take this house and move this house to Alabama, this house may be, it only has 3 bedrooms, so this is considered a basement, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, or 2 full, 2 half.
Yeah, but
$300,000 for this house. Here, this is here is just, if you people can't pay to live in nicer places to where they don't have to worry, so they have to live where they have to live at.
Yeah, but
you'll have somebody grandmama, this lady who worked 2 jobs, these 2 kids, And then you're on in the same area, you got this little younger girl. I say girl because I mean in their early 20s, 4, 5 kids, 4, 5 baby daddies, and still got an extra man. Like it's just so many diverse people, but it's just that used to be the problem.
Yep, that's what it was because what you just said remind me of a couple of people's houses that I did go to. I was like, how's all these people living in here?
Because here's
And
the
they
thing.
made it work. They made it
No,
work.
it make it work. That's why you had to. It worked, but it didn't work for everybody else. It worked for the people in the house, but it didn't work for the community. Because
Right.
here's what would happen. One, if you're on certain assistance, you can't have nobody living in that house except for you and the kids.
But see, back then they did. Back
Well,
then,
they weren't doing it legally.
yeah, back then they had.
But then you also got these younger people coming over there, hanging out at this house. And then their friends start coming over there, hanging out at this house. And then you find somebody down the way who's in the same situation. The reality is that it only takes 1 or 2 bad apples to mess up the whole situation. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of why people, it wasn't that the majority of the people in the projects was criminals and thugs and doing this, and it was always that. It only takes one gun to shoot 5 people. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that it was a whole lot of bad shit going on. It's just that it was enough bad shit going on that the community ignored the good stuff going on.
But that's just like now, right? So, like all those people back then, you know how some people are content on where they stay and they just accustomed to that living?
Yeah.
Are they still in that predicament now? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
Like I don't know where none of these people went, but it's just, they done tore the place down. Where did these people go that they tore all these places down? Because some people that was living in them projects was still living there, up until they tore it down years ago. I want to say maybe about 5, 6 years ago, they tore those places down and built townhouses and stuff. And then Condon Terrace, the other side, that's still there. They actually redid what you call those apartments over there, where they made them more livable. They don't look the same. They don't look like back then. They kind of, how they say, updated, upgraded. So
if they make it, they're doing that for. When you hear people talking about gentrification of a neighborhood, what happens is you take out the affordable living, you take out the affordable housing, you make it so that you price people out of neighborhoods. So yeah, because the people that live in government sanctioned housing has no say so over when and if they continue to live in government sanctioned housing. Because the government can sell that land or that housing to a private investor or whatever.
right.
And then they gotta find somewhere to live. They price people out of affordable, nice housing, and these people end up having to live somewhere, or they're gonna live on the street. So now they move to these broke down apartments or projects, for lack of a better term, because they have nowhere else to go.
But that's just like now. All right, so they took everything and took things down, like that whole corridor with a Nationals baseball team stadium at and all of that. That used to be a predominantly project area. They done built tall buildings. The Marriott, they done built so much down there that the chocolate city ain't gonna be chocolate no more. That's the only way I can phrase it. And that's just like when they did with the other area on U Street by Union Station. They tore all that down. Like I said, with a chocolate city ain't gonna be chocolate city no more.
They did it when they did it in New York with Harlem. Harlem is
They getting rid of.
yes.
They getting rid of. But
Yes.
what's crazy is, where did those people go?
They went to other. Here's the thing. You have driven me around DC, and you'll have really bad projects here. You'll have just the projects over here. Then you'll have affordable housing over here, and then you'll have what looks like $2-3 million homes over here, and you'll have all that within a quarter mile radius. as the $250,000 home started getting more, as the $1 million home started getting more available to people who want to buy $1 million home, they push out the people who can't afford the apartment they're living in now, and they start pushing them toward the rundown, the bad stuff. That's why you have such a high homeless population, because some people rather live on the streets than to live in certain projects.
Yeah, because we were just sitting there talking last night. We were just talking about. I'm trying to figure out where some projects out here, but there is none. They have low income. Well, we did find out they got low income. I found that out by accident, but
because Section 8 is a government program to where it subsidizes housing for the elderly, the disabled, and single parents. So any person who has rental property can apply to the Section 8 program and become a leaser, I own this apartment, I'll take Section 8.
mm-hmm.
I own this house, I'll take Section 8 from this house. You go in and you get onto the program, and then you can get on a list of houses that accept Section 8 vouchers. Because what it is that depending upon your income, I've known people to pay $8 a month rent, and the Section 8 program pay the rest.
See, I never known that.
I mean, yeah, but that was back in the day. I mean, I have been out of Alabama has a. Here's the thing: if you grew up in a place that has a high cost of living, then you don't understand that there are states to where, like I said, we paid. How much was the rent in that apartment, the first one, when I first moved?
$1,300. Remember how you say that?
All right, that was $1,300, right?
Like I said, I paid $1,300. I'm
right. Yeah.
That
That apartment was $1,300, right?
mm-hmm.
For $1,300 in Alabama, you could have got this house. You could get this house now. We thought we was doing something. We had a 3-bedroom. We had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath apartment. We paid $900 a month. We thought we was gonna die.
Yeah, but still,
the cost of living. You don't factor in how high y'all cost of living is because
you in this too. What are you talking about?
Y'all. No, I'm talking about DC.
Oh, back then over there.
I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day was different.
You don't factor in how high the cost of living is in a place if you've never lived in a place where the cost of living is lower. So you never lived in a place. You have never lived in a place where the cost of living is lower, because even when you move from DC to Maryland, the cost of living is still higher than
No, that's not true, because we lived in a high rise. And it was a middle.
No, I said the cost of living, not the amount you pay.
Okay.
The cost of living in DC is exorbitant. It's one of the highest costs of living in the country. What you pay $600 for a month in rent. Not 600. I was looking at something. Somebody was talking about they had a studio apartment in DC for $3,500. A studio, that's one room. So I gotta pay mansion mortgage prices for one room in DC. No sir.
See, I would like to venture out and go find. I don't know where they would have any though.
What?
Like, well, me and my dad drove through. I just gotta go at night, but I don't want to go through there at night.
Where?
Well, in Southwest, where those people still living like back in the day.
What you mean?
Huh?
What you mean?
In the hood, baby. What you talking
That's
about?
not back in the day. The hood is universal, and it just grows with time. That's not. You mean they still living in the hood?
That's what. Yeah.
That's not back in the day. The hood is everywhere. Everybody got a hood, even if it don't have projects in it. Everybody got a place to where if you go to this place, you got 1,300 liquor stores. You got places that got the best food. You got, and on a good night, you can get some weed, some body oil.
Well, hold up. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to get some chicken wings and mama sauce.
Every place.
And I'm going to drive through.
Every place.
But it's going to be daytime.
Got a place you can do that in.
Yeah, but.
Every city got a place you can do that in.
But I'm not gonna lie. I had fun hanging out in the hood.
Because people, the reason you have fun and the reason it seems so fun is because these people will make it do off of very little.
Yeah,
They will
I
make
had
it
more
do
fun.
off of what you would go out and buy. They would make
Hmm.
what you thought was normal. They thought was a treat. That's just and
What's
they
up, Ali?
made it. I mean,
Yeah, but it's like going. Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna go. I'm going to get some wings and stuff. So that's in DC on the southeast side. So I'm gonna drive through that area some kind of way. Let's see.
but think about it. In that area, it was more. It was when you first started taking me over there to get wings and mumbo sauce. The first thing you say, lock the door, don't open the door, don't look at nobody. I'm sitting up there
Cause I'm
going,
telling the truth. The first thing you're gonna do, somebody gonna ask you, you got dollar,
if you act like you
or
scared,
they
or
gonna
you
steal your
act like,
car.
but if you act like you scared and you act like these is something wrong with these people, that's when they start messing with you.
Oh no
I have
no.
never been messed with. I have never not once somebody came up. I don't act like I see them because I mean I know.
No, see, when I go get some wings, I call my order in, give them enough time, walk in, ticket number, boom, gotta go. Because if you procrastinate, you giving time for somebody to walk up to you to ask you for something, or can I get a ride, or that's what's gonna happen on the avenue, at Martin Luther King Avenue. That's what's gonna happen. And then they hanging out at the corner store, at the liquor store down the street. And then remember that little park area they hanging out. It's okay to pick a. Why do you gotta hang out at the liquor store?
Because it's a baby. See, here's the thing. Here's what
Ain't nobody hanging out at the ABC store.
here lies the problem. Here lies the problem. You are putting your middle class uh uh you're putting your middle class could go out the house.
I know I couldn't go out the house.
Didn't know they were white people.
I did.
Sensibilities onto people whose kids, who 2, 3 year old kids be outside by themselves. It's a you can't equate how you went with how they went because you never had to do what they had to do.
Right. I mean, I never had to, but I seen it.
Yeah,
I have friends. I have friends that lived out there, but like I
kids
said,
be
I had more
outside
fun
playing
over
all
there
the
than
time.
in our own area.
Little young kids be outside playing by themselves all the time. Don't nobody say nothing to them. Don't know where the parents at. First thing you say, where your mama them at? I mean, it's just it's when you live a different life,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to you don't understand why they do it, but to them that's just Monday.
Yep, that's just a
That's
normal
just
day.
another day. And I mean, just like they don't understand, it's just like they don't understand why you do the things you do. It's like when it's as simple as when I had Nick and he used to go places. He went to a birthday party. He was I think Nick was like he was like 3 years old. My niece came and picked him up and they went to a birthday party. And it was in the project.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna tell you can't go hang with the folks. You know what I'm saying?
He went out, hang out.
Yeah, I didn't go, but my niece went.
Right.
So when they got home, my niece was telling me how they was talking about me. He talked like a little white boy. Why he do that? Why? I'm like, because I raised him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't talking like a little white boy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to answer these questions. But because he was raised differently than they kids was, it just
Yeah, that's the same thing with Brittany.
you can't go.
Same
Why
thing.
they do that? Because just like you say, well, why they do that, or why they go there, or why they hang out. They say the same thing about you. Why you don't do nothing? Why you act like that? Why you don't drink? Why you in the bed? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
But I'm just saying, back in the day, I did have good times and I had fun. My majority fun was hanging out with my hood friends.
well, that's because they
Because,
didn't have.
man, why your hand up in the air?
Oh, my bad. That's because they
What's up, little
when
Dabby?
you have to make a way out of no way, you can find fun in anything.
Yeah.
When you so used to having games to play and having structure, a lot of times
Ben, stop.
What you doing?
laying up against that wall.
A lot of times, you know,
Yeah, I'd rather hang out with my hood friends, but they had fun. They had no cut cards. They did everything, and I'd be right with them. I think that's how I got
that's
street
your
smart.
problem.
Going to Catholic school all my life, I was like, woo! I like to hang out with them. They were more fun. They wasn't scared. Like my hood friends, we would sneak in the movie through the back door. I remember going to the movies and be like, let's go through the back door. I'm like, the back door? All right. I said, we're going to get in trouble. No, we're not. We've been doing this for a long time. But I go right with them. I used to do all
That's
kinds
just
of...
being bad, man.
No, because see, I wouldn't have never thought of nothing like that. We was going to see the movies for free a lot of times. We had that one person that can drive, and we would hop in their car and go to Virginia, Alexandria. That movie theater been closed down, but I remember we was like in our teenage days, we'd be sitting in the movie like we paid full price, sitting there watching the movie for free, and then we would leave. And then what else we would do? Something crazy. Let's see what else. My hood friends had me going to the movies for free. Oh, you know what happened? You know back in the day they ain't had like rims and stuff. You had hubcaps. Huh? You say
We
what?
did have rims back in the day.
Well, I didn't know nothing about rims. I knew hubcaps.
That's a cultural thing. That's not a hood or anything.
Yeah, but my hood
That's a
friends,
cultural thing.
if they lose a rim, lose a hubcap, they would go find a car, look just like their car, and pop them hubs.
Y'all didn't have rims up here. That was a, I mean, I had rims, but that was at one point it was a southern thing, and then it was a west coast thing. Rims were not a northeastern thing.
I need some
Now
lunch.
they became a thing, but it wasn't a thing. That was the boys with them cutlasses having rims. You got a car worth $10,000 sitting outside of a apartment with no windows. So it was just a cultural thing. That was a regional thing too. You wouldn't have had rims. You would have had hubcap.
I had hubcaps when I was my first car, and then I finally got rims. But by then I was older. But this was before I was driving, because my friends. And then you know what? I'm in cars. I don't even know if it was their car or not. Now I think about it, because I don't remember being old enough to drive. The people I was hanging with. See, that's your hood friends. They have fun. They ain't worrying about nothing. They ain't doing nothing. They just having a good old time being slick and sneaky. And we did some sneaky stuff. Shoot. Little diamonds in the building. But did any of y'all have hood friends back in the day, or did you live in the hood, or did you have fun in the hood, or you never been in the hood? Let me know in the comment down below, because I got a lot of stories that happened in the hood that I had fun. I don't know if I could live there, but I didn't mind going there and having fun. Because they don't sleep.
You can live there. I mean, no, but see,
They don't
that's
sleep.
the thing. The people you hung around didn't sleep. That wasn't the whole hood. That was a small part of the hood. There was a whole bunch of people that you never saw.
It's good. It tastes like lemon meringue. What'd you say?
There was a whole bunch of people you never saw. There was grandmamas. There was single mothers that worked majority of the time. You saw a very small part of the people that hung out like that.
No.
No, I'm telling you, it feels like it was a lot.
It was a lot.
First of all, DC is little.
No, because it was a lot, because it was the hood across the street from us on both sides. Then it was the Berry Farm hood. That was big as hell over there.
But I'm telling
And
you,
then there was Southern Court. They was all over the place.
man, there were tens of thousands of people living in the hood. You only saw a few hundred. That's why I'm telling you, it looked like it was a lot. But the majority of people just needed some affordable housing to live in, to take care of their family. Or that's where a lot of older people, grandmamas, great-grandmamas lived at, because that was the only housing they could afford. They couldn't go to senior living facilities, because if these people were getting $500 a month in I'd say five. If they were getting $500 a month in retirement or disability or whatever, the senior living facilities took $495 of that. So they couldn't afford to live in senior care facilities, nursing homes and things like that. So they lived in the project. So
I
you
mean,
didn't see the majority of the people that lived there. You just saw a lot of people who were hanging out, but understood a lot of these, they was hanging out because that was their job.
they hanged out. I mean, they be outside. Woo, and at nighttime when the sun go down, I had a curfew. I had to be home by a certain time. I was like, damn. Right when I was having a good time. I said, I ain't want to mess up that. So I had to hurry up back home and just be wondering what they doing. They out there having a good time. I'm in here in the house. But it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Hanging out in them DC streets. Because back then, now it's more dangerous. Because there's a lot of shootings, you know what I'm saying? Back then they used to fist fight. They have a fight, a big ring, they would fight. But the big boys did have guns. I found that out the hard way, but
Yes, baby, they was shooting at you.
but it wasn't like now.
Well, no, I mean, because when the types of criminals change,
Happy Friday.
then other stuff changes too. I mean, back in the day, the drug dealers would make sure the kids had lunch. They would, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was bad because what they were selling was killing people. But they was taking care of the neighborhood. They was taking care of the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't nobody mess with the grandma. Didn't nobody mess with the kids. You
No.
wasn't just, the reason that it was so traumatic when bystanders and kids got killed, because you don't mess with the kids, you don't mess with the grandmamas, you don't mess with the mamas. But nowadays, it's just different code. And the reality is anybody can get it. Back in the day, you didn't mess with nobody's kids.
Nope.
You didn't mess with nobody's mama. Hell, you didn't mess with nobody's sister them. I mean, it changed when the type of criminal changed. It went from them having certain rules and regulations to this game to anybody can get it. So,
Ball said about the crave Pop-Tart.
what?
He craving the Pop-Tart now. Pop-Tart. Because I'm eating the lemon cream pie. Cream pie. Yeah.
Hey,
It's called lemon cream pie.
hey, Nick said he want to go to the football game after school,
Mm.
and he want to know if Vic can come over after
Yeah.
the game.
And who?
Vic,
Is this room cleaned up?
was it please?
Probably not.
I don't know, did you see?
I
You
didn't
didn't go
know.
over yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm gonna close this out because I've been on here for an hour, and I was just thinking back in my past, growing up in a middle class neighborhood. But even though I lived in a middle class neighborhood, the best part was living next door to the hood, where they was fun, and they had a good time. I'm not gonna lie, we had a good time in the high rise because we always had high rise friends. We had a bunch of us. But with something about across the street, they had the go-go bands outside in the summer, barbecues and all kinds of stuff, and just chilling, hanging out. They don't have that no more. They don't have that no more. You doing bingo tonight? Yes, I am. Bingo will be at 7:30 Eastern time. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I think I dropped my remote. Sure did. But like I said, if you ever had any experience from back in the day, like I'm going to go through there tomorrow while I'm driving, go and get some
Bluetooth connected.
I'm going to buy some wings and mumbo sauce tomorrow, so I will record. I'm going to bring my camera and record because the reception, I don't know what it's like out there. And then I don't want to be standing and all that. I'm just going to drive through and put it on my mount in the car. No, he's not playing football no more. He's not playing football. So, I'll see y'all later.
Running to the top, started from the floor. How we got up here, you don't need to know. Slipping on the end, might be one of those.